ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the... wait, I can hear myself. We've got a mic. That was weird. That was like the voice of God. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the weekly old school Q&A. That was weird. We have some exciting things to talk about on this Q&A. Of course, I'll introduce the couch real quick. To my left, your right, we have Mod Lenny.
Hello.
We have Mod Ash.
Hello.
I am, of course, Mod Wolf. I am your host. And to my right, to your left, you have Mod Monroe.
Hello.
And Mod Kieran.
Yo.
And this stream is going to be a little bit... We have a couple of exciting things to talk about. You may have guessed. Firstly, we're going to be showing some environment stuff from Making Friends with My Arm. We have some pictures on that. We also have some iPhone updates that Mod Ed has been working on. But I'm very happy to be able to announce that Mod John C is going to be joining us on the couch. Come on, Mod John C. You know what Mod John C means? Mod John C means mobile update.
What was that?
Mic him up.
I did it straight away.
Do. Here he is.
Whoa.
Let me get myself mic'd up.
Can you hear me?
So,
What
Mod John C...
was the held back entry for when we were doing it 10 seconds into the stream?
I don't know, because it was look how excited they are now that they know that he's here, right? Like, you know what I mean? He means one thing, which means mobile.
news.
Absolutely.
Mobile news. Yeah.
So, what do you want to talk about, Mod John C? It's pretty exciting.
I want to see those screenshots from Making Friends with My Arm.
That's what we're up
Mobile.
Yeah.
Oh, fine. All right.
Go
So, about 6 weeks ago now, we opened up the open beta on Android, and in that time, it's been fantastic. Had 500,000 installs nearly. Got 60,000 of you playing every single day, and the amount of feedback and bugs that we're finding and being able to fix has been fantastically phenomenal. So thank you for taking part, and iOS users, thank you for being patient. I'm here. The whole purpose of this is for me to announce that on August 30th, that is 15 days from now, we'll be running another iOS beta. Yay!
Yay!
Yay.
We got a date as well. I believe there will be a news post tomorrow explaining more details and whatnot.
So it's in the game update news post, so do check that out for more info. We've got all the details in there. I think you get prompted for that on login now when there's been a new one. So
Yes, you do.
awesome, you can't miss it. Go read it, check it out. All the info will be in there. The rest of it's a mystery. You'll have to wait and see.
As always, if you have any questions specifically about mobile at the moment, please do at OldSchoolRS. Mod John C is going to be sticking around for a couple of more minutes answering those questions. There was one thing I wanted to talk about, and I can't remember the question that I had queued up.
I can't remember either because you asked me already.
Yeah.
That's fine. I'm just going to destroy the memes. I do mean August 30th, 2018.
Okay, excellent. Thank you for killing that meme.
AD?
It is.
Yeah.
That is 15 days from now. So, hi.
So yes, any questions at Old School RS, please do be picking those out. Mod Monroe, not Mod Monroe, Mod Monroe is here. Mod Bruno is on the chat today, so I'll be waiting for those questions. Which the first question was actually from literally anyone without an Android, and it was any update on iOS, and that was when I was meant to call you on, but I called you on a little earlier, excited. So I'm going to ask this question from Alexis, which is, can a Slayer level be added to Lizardman Shamans? It helped tackle the issue with brutal blacks in the past.
Don't look at me.
Go on, John, give it a shot.
Give it a go, John.
I really didn't listen to the question, so it's like genuinely don't look at me.
I feel like it would leave a sort of awkward batch of players, Iron Men in particular, who have killed Lizardman Shaman, obtained a Dragon Warhammer, and do not have the Slayer requirement to get them, which I'm not sure would want to leave that sort of awkward state of play.
Well, we wouldn't want to take it off them because that would be really, really mean.
Mm-hmm.
Thoughts? Chat, be nice. Okay, no, I'm sick of this. Every time, be nice. This isn't funny anymore, because I still don't get this meme. I don't know why they spam the question marks, but they do it. Stop. Smile. Smiles in the chat.
Now we just have smiles and question marks.
Go ahead, Kieran.
I don't know if it addresses the real issue. So I'd rather tackle the actual problem than just put a band-aid on it with the Slayer requirement.
Like, we've got some plans for taking the Lizardman terrain a bit wider, and if we were to use the first batch of that to get ourselves some more terrain, then the Iron players who were trying to grind there would have a rather better time of it, because hey, his personal address has come in to help with his microphone. Then they'd be able to have a better chance of getting hold of a lizard shaman if we gave them a single way area that's not task locked. And I think that would help with a lot of the troubles we're having in the area. When it comes to bots, well, please carry on reporting them. The sports team will do what they can to keep on top of this stuff.
Cool. Right, I do have some mobile questions for you, Mod John C. Yeah. The one that I was going to ask at the beginning, which I now remembered, was, is it an open beta?
No, it's closed. All the details have been tomorrow's news post, but yeah, it's closed.
How long is it likely going to be in beta for as well?
Again, we've not defined a close date yet. We'll obviously let you know once we have one that will be open by that point. Yeah.
It is worth keeping in mind that despite it being a closed beta, comparatively to Android, the amount of time that it's going to be in closed beta is a lot.
It will be shorter than the Android open beta, but more than the previous iOS limited beta that we did. I think that ran for 2 weeks. It'll be somewhere in between there is where we're at the moment. But.
Cool. Yeah, that's all the questions for mobile. So I'm going to say you can disappear if you fancy.
Great. Now, awkwardly, D-Mike can leave the sofa.
Cool. Thank you so much for your time. Exciting news. It's nice to be able to say we've got news coming, and give news. That's always the best. So next question's from Kadaros. Can we have a Kurask extension? I only put this question in because he supplied the pun, and he wants to call it Kurasking for it. I was quite happy with that one.
I guess we've got to add it now.
Yeah, I think
They're not hard to implement, and if they've done all the hard work of thinking of the name for it.
That's actually the hardest part.
That probably takes longer.
That is legit the hardest part.
I don't know, I've been wanting to put suck another one for a very long time, but I did the sucker one.
The super?
Unless they're called suckers, surely.
I don't know.
I've always said Sukwa.
Yeah, I've always
I said Sukwa.
Sukwa.
I don't know.
Suckers.
It's a weird name.
Cool.
That's possibly what the dev was getting at when he made them.
Cool. Maybe. Russ Witt asks, can you make Slayer rewards such as boss tasks a toggle rather than always having to pay again?
I mean, it's not a bad idea, but if we did that, it would mean you could just, whenever you felt like not ever getting boss tasks, turn it off and on at your leisure, which it's not a bad thing, but it would certainly make it a lot easier to get boss tasks only when you want them, rather than getting just stuck with them as part of your other ones and getting certain boss tasks you didn't want to do.
Yeah.
They seem quite struck by the pronunciation of the word leisure.
Leisure?
Sucker.
Do you guys, by the way, now that John C's not on, do you guys want to spread out a little bit so we're not all as uncomfortably close to each other?
Like this.
It's all man spread.
Yeah.
Thank God. Perfect.
Just change the camera for us.
This host is the worst.
Point at the floor now.
Rubity asks, can the boat at the north end of Fossil Island get a right-click travel to sea option? It's annoying having ammonite crabs interrupt you.
I don't see
I
why
don't
not.
have a problem with that.
No, it is a bit of a pain when they attack you.
Yep.
Cool.
Crabs.
Zeng asks, if making friends... this is actually very relevant. We have a new poll going on at the moment with making friends with my arm. Of course, it's now live, so do vote. Zeng asks, if making friends with my arm passes, but the fire-making rewards don't, what will be the team's plan?
To make sure we put some stuff in it that wasn't fire making.
Yeah.
Specifically, a new disease-free herb patch, and based on player suggestions, a teleport to the Troll Stronghold herb patch, so that you can use my arm's existing herb patch more conveniently. These would be unlocked by the quest, and they are being polled right now. Last I saw, they were actually doing quite well, and the quest was too.
Yeah.
Fire-making stuff, some of it, actually one of them was passing, but the others not so much. That's fair enough. I mean, we knew it was a bit iffy. We thought people might actually find a use for the prayer ones, but we're okay with that, which is why we're offering some other stuff based on your suggestions instead. And and you still get XP for doing the quest.
Of course, I saw somebody on Twitter talk to you about, do you make certain things a little bit beforehand? And of course, the quest, we were relatively certain would pass. Of course, we've started a bit of work on the quest already, but the rewards, comparatively, again, we kind of edged our bets on what's the most likely to pass versus what's not.
Yeah.
And started work on the stuff that is looking to pass.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, like we have a graphic of a fire because the trolls actually do have a fire for their own use.
Yes.
And that's something we didn't need anyway. So regardless of whether you wanted any putting elsewhere in the game, we still needed a picture of a fire. The environment for the quest, we were pretty sure you were going to be okay with the quest based on the response we'd seen, and it was batting 89-90 last I saw on the poll.
And the teleports as well with the new teleport options.
Which is also pretty cheap in graphics resources.
Yeah, well, it's something we were asked to put in from the first blog.
It
so
was actually a player request, yes.
we thought it's probably going to pass the blog,
we always wanted to teleport back to the new area.
That as well, yeah.
And it's actually a relatively light graphics quest. I mean, for all, we showed these amazing new troll animations that Mod Ghost made for us, which I love, especially the way the thing flips back in the air and falls on its back and dies. I do love that. But we've got the environment from Mod Rai. But this is actually quite low graphics for a new quest with new environments of this nature. I'm really quite impressed with what they've managed to do.
You've given me a great segue. Shed, forget everything I told you about the order of those pictures. The 4 ones, the second set, let's have those up and let's have Mod Ash go through some of the environment pictures that Mod Rai has been working on.
If you want to send in the right pictures and not pictures of something else.
Oh, I certainly hope so.
To find out.
Let's see. There we go, there's the first picture right there. Can you explain a little bit of what that is?
Okay, so here we have the new troll city. It's called Vice, or Weiss, and it's up in the north beyond the God Wars dungeon, accessed by boat. Happens to be not that far off Gorok, which you have maybe seen on, well, the big black area on the world map where there's a hole at the moment. This is in the big black hole, filling it up. So here is the entrance device, and there is the sentry who's guarding it. His name is Boulder because trolls are traditionally named after the first thing trolls try to eat. And that's one of the more mundane names out there, by the way.
I'm very happy with the name that we got in.
Yes, you were pushing that particular one that, in a way, I could not resist because I love it. The one about the goat, I'll take responsibility for that one about the goat. Plus, there's a teaser to some other content that. Anyway, here is Boulder in the gateway, and you can see behind him the entrance to the throne room where the chieftain sits, and some very nice new trees that Mod Rai has made. Mm-hmm. Also, slabby walls for the trolls aren't big into the architecture, it seems.
They did iron fences though.
Yeah, yeah. Let's not look too closely into how they pulled that one off, but beyond that, they see for their own buildings, they seem quite happy with piling up slabs. I think that's a completely new wall kit he's made for us here. I've certainly not seen anything like it before.
It's really cool.
Yeah, I love it.
Let's move on to the next picture. There we go. Oh, this is a good one. This is an interesting one.
Ah, yes. In the caves below Rice, it ain't going to be plain walking all the way. I'm afraid you're going to have to go for a swim and not be afraid to get wet. And it's not as easy as it sounds without wishing to spoil the details, but I do love what he's done there.
Cool. Next picture, please.
And that with its hand up its backside is my arm.
Your arm?
My arm. My arm is a green troll. And here he is scratching his wasp name right outside the throne room. And you can't quite see, because we're still teasing at this point, the trolls at the bottom of the shot include Odd Mushroom on the left with the walking stick and the beautiful Troll Maiden's Snowflake. My arm would very much like to get to know Snowflake better, and I believe from the dialogue so far she would like to spend more time with my arm.
Let's have the next picture, please. Craigasm in brilliant.
And in here we are in the throne room where my arm, the diplomat all the way from the troll stronghold, comes face to face with the chief of the trolls, Mother. That's Snowflake's father.
I like when I was testing it earlier, there was a moment where I had to stop for a second because Snowflake, of course, calls Mother father, and I'm like, wait. That's right, I think. I was so confused. That's it for those pictures. Thank you very much, Mod Shade. There you go. There's your little teasers for making friends with my arm. Remember, it is currently being polled. Do vote on both the rewards and the quest as well. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And in the meantime, big shout out, since all you're seeing is actually not my work. Big shout out to Mod Ghost for making all the characters and their animations, and to Mod Rai for making all the environments. And Mod West is doing quite a lot of graphics, but I don't think any of it was in those pictures unless the fire was showing in the corner.
Cool, right. What I'm going to go ahead and do is, because last week I actually quite enjoyed having all the stuff that was like picture-worthy and heavy at the beginning anyway. I'm going to do that now, so then people who want the questions can, keep watching. But we do have some other mobile updates other than the iOS beta. We have 2 pictures. Can we have those pictures up, please? So there's the first one. That's from Mod Atlas tweeted that out, and that is the login screen on iPhone X. So he's had to extend the size of the login screen to make it fit. That will go to all other Android devices that have a bigger size and currently have the black bars as well. So that's pretty awesome. Do give your love to Mod Atlas. I think his at is @JagXTitan if you want to follow him.
Mod Ghost did the actual graphics for it as well, and had to, we didn't have the old actual title screen file around. All that we had was the JPEG that actually it goes into the game, which is tiny. So he had to do a hell of a job to actually make this work.
It looks perfect, doesn't it?
Does that mean he's made a sort of higher res model of it of some sort, or did he just extend the JPEG in the same?
I don't know exactly how he did it, but
because we are probably the only major MMO out there with a login screen which has such visible JPEG artifacts.
Yeah, well, for those who don't know, our login screen is actually just half the login screen as a .jpeg. It's compressed as possible so that it was really small for your dial-up connections, and then
I had one.
And then it's automatically flipped to make the other side. So
I mean, like, you look at the game sizes, like our game size, even with our extra 5 years worth of stuff in it, and it's very, very small to download. You'll know if you have Android already, it's a very small download, and even the cache is very small. RS3 in comparison have so much data on texture sheets, and like I'd say probably 10 of their armors is bigger than our game, which is insane to think about. And we have one more picture. This is something that Mod Ed has been working on. Do you want to take this, Mod Kieran, as Mod Ed's not here? It's definitely worth covering.
So Mod Ed has been putting together a new account management interface. So a lot of these things are hidden in various menus, or completely inaccessible in-game altogether. So it's bringing a lot of this stuff together for convenience on mobile and potentially desktop in future. But there you can see you can access the actual bond pouch. You can say how many messages you've got and have a direct link to your messaging inbox. Hopefully, it'll really provide you some nice convenience features.
Yeah, it's important.
All in one place.
It's important to realise that a lot of mobile things, like apps, they require us to have very, very easy to see links to things like particularly customer support. We currently have a link, I believe, on the logout button on Android, and we need it to be more noticeable there.
Yeah, so you will notice as well, by the way, that the ignore list button has gone.
Yes, that's currently. So one thing that Mod Ed is, I believe there'll be a different icon than that happy face, but the friends list and ignore list will be combined into one. It's worth pointing out this will be mobile only, I believe, at least unless you guys want it on desktop, so it is mobile only. Yeah, I think that's everything.
What are the pictures of? I can't quite see the open store icon.
I think that's like a
market store.
Like a market store.
Thanks,
and the name changes the default layout of the character.
So yeah, you want to go and buy your membership, open store button. You want to check out your bond pouch. You want to check your inbox, that will take you to the web page for it.
Great to see how many you've got in there. Sorry, it's just from here the open store thing looks a bit like a burger.
It's also given us an opportunity.
It does a bit.
It does.
You're right.
From a distance. It's worth keeping in mind as well. It's let us go back in, especially the in-game message center, the code surrounding that, so that we might actually be able to start pushing those. So if you get, like, for example, a customer support ticket sent back to you, we can notify you now.
Some of the players were asking what's in the store, since it's not entirely obvious in a game with no microtransactions.
Oh, yes.
So the answer would be bonds.
Yes, it's what you currently have.
Yes, it's where you buy your bonds. And also, I think you can buy your subscription in there instead of having to go to the website directly.
Yeah.
So it's things you already buy and have done for quite a few years. Hopefully you're okay with them having slightly more accessible buttons.
Yeah, sorry, we should have clarified that a bit earlier. That is not added MTX. It is all existing stuff, buying membership and buying your bonds. It already exists, I believe, in the options menu, I think. But yes, it's just a little bit.
In the options menu, there's the thing for opening the bonds pouch, and there's a link, I think, to the website if you want to buy more bonds.
Yeah, that's what's in there at the moment.
So there was some playing around with how this interface actually looks. Mod Ed went through a few iterations, then we decided it'd be nice if we had some icons alongside the buttons. What do you guys think of how it looks? Because this is the best time to get that feedback in.
Yes, please do send your feedback to us on that. I'm going to move on and say thank you very much for those pictures, Mod Shed, and say it looks good. Oh, good. Mod West is really good at like 2D pixel art. Really good.
Sick.
Cool. Next question's from Regen, and Regen asks, thoughts on a glove slot item reward from the Farming Guild that lets you pick 2 herbs at a time. The main benefit would be to speed up picking the herbs, not increase the amount.
I mean, we can.
It doesn't sound like it's particularly harmful. I mean, the skill is not balanced around the time you spend going boop, 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 boop.
Yes.
I don't know how significant a reward that really
I'm
is.
surprised there's a lot of no's. Like
Doing certain things to the patch already speeds up, I think.
well, if you double
click
click, if you like do a weird double tick thing when you run towards it.
But that's it. So
It seems a little odd. I'm very confused as to why there's a lot of no's, but I'm interested. Cool.
It looks like they can find other uses for our time. So
Was that the only mobile screenshot, by the way?
Yes.
I thought you had more.
I had 2. I had the large screen and
Ah, yeah, fair enough.
we have now leaked Mod Atlas's fingerprints.
oh, you probably print that now.
horror.
Cool. The next question is from Thanks, and he's asking, when are the Revenant statues going to be removed? He was under the impression that they would be removed when the Rev weapons were added.
Still a discussion to be had. So I believe the statuette's got rarer as part of the update to add the other items.
Ever so
I
slightly,
don't know.
yeah.
I believe they did get rarer to balance out the
Yeah.
drop table.
But there's still a discussion to be had. We're monitoring how many people are interacting with revs, how much income is coming from that content. So in due course, if we did need to change them, as of now, we're pretty happy with how they're doing.
Cool. Awesome. Dittabitter asked, this was a contentious question, but it got a lot of likes on Twitter, so I have to ask it. Dittabitter asks, could you introduce a Wilderness Defender with similar or slightly lower stats than the Dragon Defender, but it would be tradable and can only be used in the wilderness? I'm guessing that's to get rid of that Dragon Defender grind that PKs do. I didn't like this personally, but a lot of people seem to want it.
Not that.
Chat
On
doesn't
Twitter.
really like it.
Not the chat, yeah. A discussion? Thoughts?
I don't really like it, personally, at all, because it completely removes that grind of getting the Dragon Defender again. And if you're risking it in high-level wilderness,
It should
why
be a
should you
risk.
not be able to go back and have to go back and grind it again at the Warriors Guild? It's you that's risking it. If you lose it,
The grind of getting it back is something where you never know whether the next one will get it to you or whether you've got to do another 1,000. It's not like the game knows up front, it's just rolling every time you kill one of the doobies.
Yep.
So, if the players ever wanted to be able to pay for a guarantee that they'd get it within 300 kills and pay to be given that guarantee,
Oh, that I like.
we
Yes.
could go that way so that if you get that guarantee, you've lost something because you had to pay to get it.
Like luck insurance.
Like luck insurance.
yeah.
I'd make it be paid via the Warrior Guild tokens, the ones that you obviously use at the time. But I don't know.
I certainly like that a lot more than just a Wilderness Defender.
I want to state I prefer that, not that I like that.
I don't really.
I like it more than
Personally, I don't think any of this is needed anyway.
Yes, I agree.
And they seem cool with it the way it is.
yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Fantastic. Let's move on to the next question. Next question is from Zulu. Can Barbarian Assault points be rebalanced for healers to be more objective based? The healer gets less points from the attacker and defender as they rarely need to actually heal people, especially on the lower waves. The majority of the points should come from killing the healer creatures. Thoughts?
I'm scared of that code.
You got PTSD flashbacks.
You got rid of about the worst of it.
I have, but it's still a lot left.
And it did some fairly good stuff in the combat.
It can't be that bad, surely. I mean, not for this
It
change.
is full monkeress when you look at a job to
Full
do
monkeress.
some beer.
Dear.
But I mean, I agree that is a problem because essentially people doing bad enough that you need to go and heal them. It's like you're asking people to do badly to get
more points.
To get more points.
I completely agree.
Which isn't how it should be, really. Your point system should always line up with the actual objectives of succeeding at the minigame. So if it can be rebalanced, maybe we'll have a look at it. And
do you think it's all manually inputted, the amount of points that you get per creature? Because it wouldn't surprise me.
I just know there's a lot going on. The way it tracks your certain activities that you've done is very odd. So it doesn't like track points. It tracks like number of things you've done and then calculates it all at the end. It's messy. I think it only calculates them in one place now, but it used to do it in like a load of different places.
Fun.
It was written out separately several times, and you just hope for agreement
If
between
you've ever
the sets
wanted
of
to see a
code.
broken man on camera,
It was also different.
That's what it looks
I mean,
like.
it was different code for the leader of the party versus anyone else in the party as well.
Plus, there was the version where it calculates the points before giving it to you, and the version where it opened the interface after giving it to you. So one of them would show info on the screen based on what it thought it might give you presently, and the other was showing you on the screen what it had given you, and the two hopefully coincided.
Yes. Then there's the bug where you had the interface open and you could just hit the X. It would reopen and give you the points again.
oh my god!
Yes, the developer appeared to have been told at some point in development, if the player clicks out of the interface, they don't always get their points. So he wrote some code that detects you trying to walk and tried to give you the points again, and this led to that bug. It is not a way that I think anyone would try to write it in this day and age.
I don't think it was a way someone would try to write it in that day and age either. But it was done so, and so this might not be straightforward as it sounds, but I do think it warrants changing.
Yeah. Cool. Fantastic. I'm going to ask the chat to @OldSchoolRS, ask any questions, because I'm going to jump on chat questions real quick. Mod Bruno will be collecting... I think I said Monroe again, didn't I?
You did almost say that.
Mod Bruno will be collecting those questions. From the chat, Stewie Louie asks, where can I register for the closed beta? John C's not here right now. Check the news post tomorrow. There will be one. That'll give you all the answers that you need. Electroscape asks, is the Duel Arena update tomorrow?
It is indeed.
There you go. Duel Arena taxing is out tomorrow. I have a question about that later as well.
Just to summarise very quickly on what the Duel Arena changes are. So from tomorrow's update, essentially it's an integrity update for the Duel Arena. We are making it so you can only stake coins and platinum. You can stake up to a max stack of each. That's fine. So you can stake a lot of money. But if you want to drop your Elysian or your Twisted Bow, you're gonna have to go and sell it first. Hopefully that's not too bad of a step.
You can't, actually.
Sorry?
You can't stake a max of it, because if you get the reward of max back, you actually can't do that. It stops you early now.
Okay.
It does the calculation beforehand, so if you put 1.5 billion platinum in, you actually can't do that trade anymore. You have to do half of 2.147. The calculation's done beforehand now.
Oh, because okay.
Cool.
Okay, regardless. you can stake just coins and platinum. The other thing is, your stake and your opponent's stake have to be about the same amount. There's a tiny little bit of leeway. I think it's plus minus 10k, but your stakes have to match. There's then also taxing on the actual prize. So the taxing scales a little bit, so depending on different bandings, but it's not heavy tax, but it's there. So overall, if you're doing 50-50 staking, on average you will lose money, essentially.
Cool. Thank you for that summary. I did have a question about this as well, somewhere around here about... Oh, here we go. Godhand asked, when the staking tax comes into effect, will there be any action taken against players who attempt to middleman?
So I believe that would be covered by the commission staking rules that we already have in place.
Cool.
I don't expect it to really take off, because you have to put your trust in a middle person.
That's a lot of trust with some of the sums people like to stake.
Yeah. Cool. Another question from the chat. Dr. Yellow asked, can you use the Google Play Store credit on the store? I believe that exists already. You can, I think. People who are able to access the store on Android, you can use Google Play credit for that. Stripe Dotter asked, when is the Wise Old Man update coming? In fact, actually, it might be a lot quicker than what it was going to be.
It might be. It's been sent back from code review after I did the first round of it, as there's some changes need to be made to it so that we can get it checking for all the items properly from the quests are completed, basically.
I think I previously mentioned it was likely early next month, but depending on how,
Well, I think that's still
around the time.
that kind of thing, because even if you're not programming fires, I've got me a herb patch I might need you to program.
Yeah.
And
Her patches are fun.
farming's interesting. I don't think anyone's written a new patch since I did the farming timer rewrite, so it's easier than it used to be.
Oh, good.
Great. Yeah. So yeah, still working on the troll quest until that's finished, and then we'll see once that happens.
Cool. So sometime next month-ish. Question from Dragon's Reach. Can granite dust be tradable? There's a question there.
It can if people want to vote it to be.
I think they voted no at one point, didn't they?
Yeah, they voted no.
Yeah, originally.
And I think they do so again.
Yeah.
Cool. Right, those are all the chat questions that I have. At Old School RS, if you have any more, and Mod Bruno will be collecting those questions. Moving on, the next question is from Zoropia. And Zoropia asks, could you look at revamping the Slayer partner features? I use it all the time with my friends, but it's not very good. Perhaps the kill count could be shared between the players and gain extra XP when partnered to balance it out?
It's funny that, because when we were polling Slayer partners in the first place, there was a lot of concern, pretty darn vocal concern, that it was going to be massively overpowered and devalue Slayer, which is how we ended up with a Slayer partner system that does, well, I think NAF4 is a good description of it, politely. It lets you have a chance of getting the same task as your buddy. Sometimes you just don't, because they aren't eligible for it. Yeah, we would very happily give it some features if players have changed their views and are now up for it being
Something else, a little better.
actually influencing the training you do in, like, described there. The other thing we'd really like, but I'm not sure we'd be able to do, is to make the darn partnerships persist over logout.
Yeah.
Now that is a bit of a sticking point for us at present, because we, often want to write group content that persists over logout. Turns out some people wanted group Iron Man, for example, and groups that couldn't persist over logout will be problematic for that. If we can get the engine features required for that, then we could use them also for this. Well, we did manage to, Kieran and I have a dirty hack in the game that we were able to use to make the Theatre of Blood resync you over logout. It's not powerful enough to be able to use for partners like this, I'm afraid, so that is a bit of a limiting factor for now.
Love a good dirty hack.
Friends who slay together, stay together, though.
I was just about to raise that. Like, all jokes aside, I have been recently playing another game, which I might not say, but it has been brilliant. It was an awful introduction experience. Awful. Every new game is so hard to get into that's an MMO, and I dare to say that even hours for a new player is quite difficult. It's not awful, but it's quite hard. And having a friend to go through that experience with, and I think Slayer partners help you with that, right? And I think it'd be a really nice thing. But like without friends, it's touching.
Be a friend with a fairly appropriate Slayer level for them to actually want to slay together.
You'd be surprised what people are willing to give up to, have their friend join a game that they play, right?
Back in 2011, when the Polypore dungeon was sent my way, my instructions were try and make a dungeon, a Slayer dungeon, with stuff for low levels, mid levels, and high levels, and make it so that people with low levels can go along with their high level friends and help them in a meaningful way that actually does benefit the high level person and gets low level rewards for the person doing the helping and still helps the high level person get their stuff better. And that's how you end up with Ganodermic beasts and the splashing of the neem droop out of jugs in their general direction. It was a very, very artificial way of trying to let a low level person go along on a high level Slayer trip. Obviously we wouldn't try and make those drops come into old school, but I do get the interest in going slaying with a high-level friend.
Cool. Posh Dan asked, this is an odd question, but Poshdan asks, could we get the Beehive random event looked at? It's not very intuitive, and a lot of people feel it's inconsistent with other interfaces.
I get the frustration with the random event, but I don't think that it's something people would want us to prioritise.
Yes.
It's optional, it's quite rare that you'll actually get it in the first place and get the option to do it.
I sort of rewrote it in 09 for an event update I was doing in RS3. We might be able to nab half my code, which, rather than having you moving the things around on the screen, I just changed it to drag and drop. Not drag and drop, where drag and drops, but you drag the Beehive components around.
I think that, yeah, that'd be.
I would like, by the way, to have the beekeeper outfit in game as a costume you can wear.
Oh, that'd be good.
Sorry, I'm pushing my agenda.
First straw poll though. Can we get a straw poll for if you'd like the beekeeper outfit as a cosmetic from the beekeeper random event? Let's get that in the chat because I would love that. I think it'd be awesome.
Not gonna lie. So, random events. I mean, people, for the most part, obviously can avoid them.
Yeah.
But there are many rewards you get from them that are actually worth doing them for. And I wouldn't describe, to be honest, pretty much every single one of them is not good content. They were there solely to deter bots, really, but in a more RuneScapey way that fit the game. But they are frustrating. I wouldn't mind doing a batch of like quality of life tweaks to each of them to make them a smoother experience. Because they don't really deter bots anymore anyway. So they don't need all these frustrating features. The maze, for example, everyone does the maze because you get some mad rewards from it sometimes. We don't need all the walls to have an option to click on them, for example. We can make the gate say, open gate. I mean, these things don't serve any purpose anymore, but purely annoy you.
For that matter, you know the restriction that random events can't follow you into a bank, and if they notice you've gone into a bank, they'll despawn as quickly as possible. We could make the genie an exception to that. Because if he's following you into a bank, you know he's probably not griefing you.
And the imp.
And the hide random as well.
Oh, and the jack. Oh, I don't know about that one. That one's touchy.
Well, the thing about that one is people actually want to be able to go to a bank and get their thingy out.
Yeah, but yeah.
Herb.
He values my non-herb carrying Iron Man though. Let's have a look at the results of that. I'm actually quite interested. Let's have a little look here. We have there we go, an 86% yes on would you like a cosmetic beekeeper outfit from the beekeeper random event.
The other thought I'd had is that if you were to take the void kit and paint it white, it does look remarkably like a beekeeper outfit. That's probably coincidence though.
I do think that giving the beekeeper random event a more desirable reward than the flax that it can give would make the time invested in making it more bearable, more worthwhile.
Yes, you can get honey.
I mean, it does have the best failure state out of our random events, though, where you get teleported randomly when you fail.
Cool. JJ asks, is there a chance in the future that we can have weapons remember their styles when swapped, please?
We could potentially do it by like weapon category. So, you know, basically when you load your weapon up, it's got a certain specific category, essentially, and you see the different icons, the different styles it has associated with it. So items are all assigned to one of those. So we could do it by that. So like all maces would remember the same style, for example.
That's probably fine because you don't normally have a huge variety of different maces of different metals that you want to use differently.
That's kind of contentious. Let's get a straw poll for that one as well while Kieran explains his point.
Was there anything else?
Oh, you done? Is that it? Sorry.
There's a couple. I've sort of torn in my mind how to realistically go about it because we could just make it do it, and that's fine. When you switch to a mace from your whip, it's going to switch to whatever you last had on a mace. But realistically, if you switch to using like the defensive style on your whip, you might want to be training defense when you switch to your mace as well. So realistically, we might have to have toggles on this and actual settings for how you'd like it to behave. Because the problem we're trying to solve, right, is that people can accidentally train defense XP and all these things. Yeah.
Cool. It does seem like a little roundabout way of solving that problem at times. But I can't really think of a better solution generally.
I'd love to be able to remember your autocast settings.
Well, Gerard in the chat is saying do it on the individual weapon, not on the category. That's fine, except that there's something in the region of 20 weapon categories, and there's something in the region of some 1,000 individual weapons. We're not offering to have separate settings stored for each of those, with more turning up every time a new weapon comes in the game, whereas new categories don't come in that often, which makes it a lot more feasible. Sorry.
Yeah, Gerard. Right, while we wait for that straw poll, let's jump to the next question from Cole. Is there a chance of getting a confirmation option when collapsing bank tabs? I accidentally do it on mobile quite a bit.
Sticking confirm options on the bank screen is considerably harder than it sounds, because if we open up the usual chat box thing, the bank's shut.
You have that unique one for when you destroy things, don't you?
We do, that's where it's possible, but a lot harder than you'd expect.
Cool. So
wouldn't rule it out. Wouldn't try and well, it may be a very high priority, but it's not going to fit in very easily with the other things to which we've already committed.
Cool. So I'm also doing another thing with this stream that I haven't done for a while. Those first 15 questions are actually from Reddit and Twitter. These next 15 are unanswered ones from last week, because we always have like a solid 20 unanswered questions every week, and I want to make sure that we get a couple of those every week. This one comes from King. And he asks, what if players could use sandstone blocks for super glass make spell instead of just buckets of sand? It wouldn't be a Q&A without a bucket of sand question, would it?
No, I was just expecting this.
Have you seen the description on the buckets in the troll area?
Yes. No, good idea. No. Bucket storm. Bucket storm is my favourite idea. No?
Did we say that on a stream?
We did, jokingly, I believe. I actually find that really odd.
What, bucket storm? Yes.
No, I mean that people are so opposed to using what is generally considered a useless item and giving it a generally pretty clever use for what it could do.
Would they be expecting to lug the sandstone back to their bank in the user flow for this?
I mean, we could probably add something for that too as well.
What, like a Stanker's equivalent?
Yeah, like 10 GP kind of nota for just sandstone stuff, right?
Oh, I see. Yes, we could.
Any thoughts? Are we over the buckets of sands meme now?
I'm done.
We're done with it. Okay, excellent. Keep an eye out for Sandstorm. That'll be coming up in an upcoming poll. All jokes aside.
Possibly bucket packs too.
And bucket packs. Yes. Wobbles the Great asks, can we get a toggle at the Fishing Guild for the harpoon option to be the first choice on net and harpoon spawns? Additionally, can we get better visual distinction between the types of fishing spots? I think particularly ones that have two, those net and harpoon and Cajun harpoon, for example.
Cajun? Oh, I see. Yes.
So it'd be swap the ops is the first question. The second one is have better visual distinction between bubbles that are for sharks and bubbles that are for swordfish and tuna, right?
Stick a fin in it.
Thoughts?
It ain't an easy job, because the way fishing spots work is a bit of a nightmare.
They are unique.
But it is in the actual backlog, and we think there's good reason to do it, especially because on mobile, where right-clicking fishing spots is annoying. I can imagine this might be where it came up from. So currently, you've basically got to right-click to find out which is the spot I'm looking for.
Yes.
And then also, once you've found it, you still need to right-click it to get your correct fishing option. So
I think adding a visual distinction might be a little easier than doing the op switch, especially there's only a certain amount of NPCs. And I think it would be pretty cool to have a shark fin, like you said, for the shark one. I think it would be really cool. You look and you go, oh, look, that one's got a swordfish thing poking out of it, and that one's got a shark fin.
Swordfish.
Because that's how fish look in the sea.
That's how it swims.
With bits sticking up the top.
I think we'd leave it to an artist.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, we ain't got one of those just here.
That'd be pretty cool. Jumanji asks, is PVM bossing high scores a realistic update for the future? And are JMods interested in what such an update would do to the PVM scene in terms of competition?
Well, I'm generally fond of anything where players get to keep doing some content that already exists and get more out of it than they were before.
Is it a realistic update for the future?
If we're talking high scores, then we're talking teams outside old school, which makes it a little hard for us to guarantee here on this couch. Especially given some of the other stuff we know they need to be dealing with.
That's true.
Like people want iOS to launch for mobile, and I gather even that's going to require more from them to get the billing side of things in place.
I think that it is something that those other teams would like to do whenever they've got the chance, but whenever they've got the chance is a big question.
Just a bit. I mean, it's not like we've got people whose job is to do high score updates for us and we can call them on demand. We are, regrettably, they're also the people who do day-to-day billing maintenance, keep adjusting every time the external partners and such like change, so we have to adapt our systems around what the rest of the world's doing for our billing. That kind of thing can make up a lot of their time.
Cool. Sorry. I don't think I should say that name, so I'm going to say Cool asks, there are many interesting and unique Slayer monsters in RuneScape that are sadly forgotten because they are only assigned by low-level Slayer masters. When the time comes for a Slayer update, would you guys be interested in giving some variety to high-level Slayer by creating higher-level versions of monsters like crawling hands, cave bugs, cave crawlers, cave slimes, molonisks, etc., and having Steve and Gyarados assign them? Spoiler, Neve dies.
I don't think anyone would want Gyarados and Neve to start assigning new creatures like that. Mm-hmm. I think it would be frustrating, potentially. That probably depends on the high-level versions of these and if they're very good to slay or not. But
for sure.
I certainly don't mind adding higher-level versions of these things, but that would pretty much probably require a new type of Slayer Master that offers that sort of variety instead of affecting our current Slayer meta. So drastically, at least.
So he only offered the enhanced versions of the monsters we had before, or something like that.
Yeah, essentially.
Well, you know, RS3 had all like the banshees in the cave under Pole Nivnich, etc.
Oh yeah, the stronger ones.
I assume that's where the player's going with this kind of idea.
Yeah. I mean, I don't like any meta that sends you to a low-level Slayer Master to try and get the task you want. It's a bit annoying.
No, true.
Cool. I'm going to ask some chat questions again at Old School RS. We don't have a lot coming in from the chat, which is very odd. Either Mod Bruno is slacking, or you're not asking very good questions. Mod Bruno is a bit more picky when he chooses them. Question from Twirly D. Collection log when?
So it is very well under development at the minute. There is something that's going to be holding the release up, which I'm not entirely sure when that will be dealt with, but it's kind of out of our control.
I've escalated it to the engine team.
Yeah, so it will probably just be relying on that coming around, which hopefully will be sometime soonish. I wouldn't want to say how soon.
Neither would I.
No. But so far as the content's concerned, it is very well on the way. I'm sort of adding in the finishing touches now.
What's it been like? Has it been one of those like really long kind of projects that's quite repetitive, or has it been fun?
I think a lot of the stuff that would be long repetitive, I've kind of made easier on myself by automating it. But
good man.
There's been a lot of back and forth on design elements of it, not so much the visual design, but what exactly it is we're trying to achieve with it, as I sort of spoke about in the development blog last week.
I'm quite interested in how you automated development work.
Basically, because there's so many hundreds of items that I'm trying to track, I've got just a big list of them that whenever I add to that list, I've written a PHP script to run, which will write out all of my variable definitions, getters and setters.
Oh, cool. So you're basically botting.
Yeah.
Work smart, not hard. Good job. If there's, out of interest, if there is any items that get missed off by any chance, I presume we would add those at a later date. If it did go out without them, perhaps we might miss one, or perhaps there's ones that we didn't consider adding.
At the end of the day, if you're good at being lazy, you'll just be called efficient.
Yeah, no, anything else can be added in the future, but it's just a case of that will only be tracked from whenever it's added in. So, yeah.
Cool, awesome, thank you so much. Elgale asked about Franek X Isles and details. Franek X Isles is a tap project that I started a little while ago and Mod Ed was continuing on. Our tap is actually, we currently don't have tap, so we don't have that spare time to work on it, which is fine. We have mobile to deal with. Of course, you guys are looking really forward to that. So we have a number one priority first. We'll get around to that in the future, I imagine, but it's not in the books right now. No more chat questions. So let's go back to these questions that are waiting here. Draco asks, any plans for a UK or German 2200 total level world?
I think as we add more worlds, that's the kind of thing we would do.
Cool. TAP stands for Thursday All-Day Personal Projects, but we did ours on Friday.
Yes, we still called it TAP though.
Yeah, we didn't really want to. Yeah,
Yes,
you can guess why. Baratho asks, can we make skilling more important for obtaining top-tier equipment? Most best-in-slot gear is just dropped as items that require no skill levels to create. Demonic gorillas drop Zenite jewelry and ballista pieces, which require skills to make into usable items. That's not him saying you make something like best slot by crafting. He's saying when you get something best drop, can you have stats to make it into something better, similar to crafting like jewelry?
Totally. I'd love to see more of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Right. Brilliant.
So I had some players really quite curious as to why in the world we'd got a rune crafting requirement to stick a hot rock on a boot at one point.
I like that.
I think it's kind of we were going down this route. Maybe not in the most intuitive way.
Right, Bravo asks, oh no, I just asked a question. Neilon asked, can we make birds' nests stack on top of logs on the ground? If you drop one under all of your logs on mobile, it's pretty much just gone.
Yeah, we can do that.
The value of them, yeah, easy peasy. Void Warlord asks, can we get a buff to the original means of smelting? Examples, scales with smithing level with a percentage chance to smelt a second bar in one action. Gives full XP for both odds used. I guess he's trying to ask, can smelting be made a more viable way of training smithing outside a blast furnace somehow? A lot of negativity in the chat about that one, which is odd because I thought that a blast furnace meta is kind of not smithing, but go figure.
There's nothing I'm seeing in today's poll that makes me think that players are up for more item resource duplication benefits at this point.
It's not duplication. I think he means you would smelt 2 ores at once at a chance.
Oh, just faster.
Oh,
Right?
Yes.
faster. Okay.
Yes.
That makes a little more sense.
Yeah, I thought it was 2 bars from 1 ore kind of thing.
No. But I am surprised at the negativity of that because, I mean, was the question not explained right? Okay. Yes, okay, the question wasn't explained right. You wouldn't get extra resources from your ores, you would instead speed up the amount that you smelt. Okay, they're a bit happy about it.
Because smelting is incredibly slow,
Yes.
really.
And blast furnace is meta for smithing right now. I don't see a reason not to.
And then there's cannonballs.
Cannonballs, we'll leave. There's been a lot. We haven't had a question in a while about cannonballs, but I saw one
We
about
had the dust thing earlier.
Yeah, making
Strictly
dust
speaking.
tradable.
Yeah, that's true. Specifically crafting them for Iron Men and actually regular players in general. It's that people obviously wanted to play around house version one time in the past. I recently saw a suggestion to allow it in blast furnace in some way, shape or form.
Yeah, you stuck your ammo mould on the blast furnace in some way, shape or form, and it became capable of spitting out cannonballs.
I mean, it is just one single bar at the moment. It could just be full circles. But yes. Yes? No? No. Okay, cool. Smun asks, could all these quality of life features being added to mobile be considered for the live game as well? I understand making touch interfaces easier to use, but any withdraw X skill is a lot better on mobile to train now.
So I was speaking to Ed about this, as it's quite responsible for a lot of those mobile features that are getting done at the minute. And we intend to have a look at all those sort of features that have been done for mobile, and then look at making a poll for desktop at some point. So I'd imagine I'd like to offer a lot of those together on the same poll, just to group them up. But yeah. So the main thing being the bank feature, that's quite a big one. I'd like to see it get pulled. The same with Ash's Spellbook redesign when that goes out. I'd like to pull that for desktop too.
Cool. It's worth pointing out as well, because I did see some people mention it in the chat, and I think it's worth explaining to you guys. We would never not pull something on desktop for you guys. Sometimes, like this withdraw X stuff, we've put things in mobile without directly polling. Some of these things are things that are necessary for the app to exist.
It's basically unusable if they don't have that.
It's not just usability, but also compliance. If things are too small or unusable, we actually can't have the app on the store. And it's as simple as that, sadly. But yes, it's not going to just appear on desktop without a poll, I can promise you that. Stripe Dotter, are there still plans to release the Theatre Blood drop rates?
Currently, we don't plan to anytime soon.
You ran that survey, I forget what the result was though.
It was very mixed. I've never seen such mixed reactions to releasing drop rates before. Normally, everyone's in favour of them.
It's because they're worth bank right now and they don't want to
But
crash.
the intention is to keep them secret for now. We should tell you the pet rate though at some point.
Oh, do you want to tell them now?
I can't remember the top.
Oh, so exciting.
I
Oh,
think
there we go.
I think
This is it.
it is 1 in 650 as a base. But, so that's 1 in 650 chests. However, it's 1 in 650 when you've got essentially maximum performance. So if you are bad, or deaths, or if you're bad in general, these things can affect your chance of getting a pet, essentially.
Oh, cool.
It just scales it down from that, so it'll become rarer if you suffer. But as long as you're in a good team, 1 in 650.
I think that's the first time oh no, technically Chambers is Eric because you get the rare based on points, but still, it's the first time that we've done something that direct, which is cool.
Because all the rewards in their scale. And the only way to scale a pet, you can't scale the quantity, you've got to scale the chance. And it's the same way the uniques work, their chance is scaled by your performance. So.
If we try to scale the quantity, you'd end up with like, well, Zik with 6 legs or something.
Cool. Oh, this is a nice one. Nixter_OSRS asks, when will the next bot busting stream be? And I can confirm that will be